You have a choice between the Quran, the Bible, and affirmation depending on your faith.
I use the Bible, Mr. Chairman.
You raise it like that.
I, Juguna Ndungu, do hereby swear to testify on all matters in question and tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Professor, you have been nominated by His Excellency the President as the CS for National Treasure and Planning. The nomination requires approval by the National Assembly before appointment, and these proceedings with you and your other colleagues that started yesterday is to engage in allowing members of the committee to interrogate you on matters touching on your integrity, your ability, your suitability in occupying the important office to which you have been nominated. We will hear you in 90 minutes. The questions that will be asked by members, we have agreed, should be concise and precise. Your answers should be equally concise and precise. It is not adversarial. We want to get facts where necessary, your opinion where necessary, and in so doing, you speak through the chair. There should be no altercation between you and any member. Neither are members going to question you directly, they also question you through the chair, as the rules of the House require. We will, once we finish with the preliminaries, I'm sure you've been watching the proceedings from elsewhere, we'll give you 10 minutes or less to tell us who you are, your short journey through life. Then the exchange of questions and answers will follow. At the end, I'll also give you a few minutes, no more than 3, to recap your wishes and anything else you want to tell the committee. We'll go to the next issue of your documentation. I believe you have carried your documents, and this good lady from the Secretariat will pick if you have put them together. We want to ask you, do you have the compliance with tax obligations to the state from KRA?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I sent that. I sent the originals to this.
Do you have the clearance with the Higher Education Loans Board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have clearance with Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have a certificate of good conduct from DCI?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Have you ever been charged in a court of law or convicted for any criminal offense?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Are you a dual citizen of Kenya and any other jurisdiction?
No, Mr. Chairman.
You carry only one passport?
I carry only one passport.
Very good. As a matter of interest for the committee and the country, what is your net worth?
I've registered my net worth is roughly about 950 million.
950 million. Kenya shillings or dollars?
Kenya shillings. Currently I'm earning in dollars, but everything is translated in Kenya shillings. 950,000.
950
million.
Kenya shillings. What current and anticipated sources of income?
Currently, I'm salaried at the African Economic Research Consortium, but I think that my anticipated earnings would be graduated coming once my contract comes to an end. Unfortunately, if I'm approved by this committee, then it means that I'll have to leave my job. The second one, that is gratuity. The other one will be maturing in financial investments through different sources, diverse sources. Those are the anticipated incomes coming to me.
Okay. I'll now open the floor to honorable members to ask you questions. I'll start with the... Oh, sorry. I'm jumping the gun, Professor.
Thank you.
Tell us the journey of your life in under 10 minutes.
Thank you. That's what I was anticipating. I hope I will take 10 minutes or less. And let me say that I'm a Kenyan, and I come from Kandara constituency in Murang'a. Actually, in Murang'a, we actually talk about location. I come from location 3 in Murang'a. And I went to school in one of the primary schools, Keguya Primary School, and I finished in 1973, joined Form 1. I was admitted to Form 1. Those are the days that you needed to be admitted. So I went to another school, a newly aided school in Murang'a, in Gatuli location, Kiabugi Secondary School. That was in 1974 to 1977. I had a first-class division that allowed me to be admitted to Kagumo High School, perhaps a school of my dreams. That was in 1978. I finished Form 6 in 1979, and in 1980 I came to Nairobi. I came to Nairobi because that was the only university in Kenya then. That is when I joined the University of Nairobi, and I was admitted to study Bachelor of Arts. I had a dream to study economics, so I was in Bachelor of Arts. You have to do 3 courses. And in the second year, you start specializing on the basis of performance. So I became what we used to call then 311 economics. And so I ended up graduating in 1984. We are the group that was affected by 1982 coup. So it means that we took longer than the normal 3-year degree.
You lost 1 year.
We lost slightly more than 1 year, but it is 1 year in terms of corridor. Thank you, Chair. And in 1984, I graduated in Bachelor of Arts in majoring in economics. In the same year, I was admitted to actually pursue postgraduate economics, postgraduate degree in Masters in Economics, which I finished in 1986. From 1986, it was actually more of research work, and in 1987, I was employed at the University of Nairobi as a tutorial fellow. That's the lowest rank in terms of the teaching fraternity. But the tutorial fellow, you are employed on contract on the basis that you are going to pursue higher education, that is a PhD. So I did that for 2 years, from 1987 to 1989, and I got a scholarship to study economics at PhD level at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, funded by Swedish International Development Association, that is SEDA, and that was on the contract that we should study economics within 4 years. Usually economics, PhD in economics takes about 5 years, 2 years of coursework and 3 years of research. But we had a covenant to finish in 4 years. Of course it was difficult, but I managed to finish in 4 years and 3 months. So I came back to Kenya in 1993, towards the end of 1993, to start teaching again in 1994. I was promoted in 1995 to become a lecturer. In 1997, I was promoted to become a senior lecturer. And in 2001, I became perhaps the youngest professor ever. I became an associate professor in 2001. That is the journey in terms of my academia. I've continued to be a researcher, and all my areas of research has been quite macroeconomics. I've trained so many economists in Africa. But then, 1999, let me take a small step back. I was recruited to go and help support the establishment of KIPRA. KIPRA is a national think tank. It's the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. And I was there for 2 years. I was responsible for developing the first Kenya macro model. And I did develop the Kenya macro model by 2001. It was hosted in the Treasury. After that, I continued with my international assignment. I was employed in 2002 by International Development Research Center of Canada. And again, I became the program specialist in East and Southern Africa. In 2003, I joined the African Economic Research Consortium, a network that actually builds capacity for economists in Africa and even graduate training. I became director of training. And it was there that I was recruited and appointed governor of the central bank in 2007. And I continued and served for 8 years. In fact, chairman, I became the first governor to serve 8 years since the law was established, 2 terms, since the law was established in 1982. So, for me, it was a chance in terms of not only of research, but intellectual leadership, but also policy leadership. After that, after the tour of duty, I decided that I needed to take a break. I went to Oxford University for 1 year in terms of Bravatnik School of Government to talk more about public policy making. Then in there, I was also a senior advisor to several organizations, especially the United Nations Capital Development Fund and even Alliance of Better Than Cash Alliance. And again in 2019, I was getting back and more into research and more into intellectual work. I was headhunted for African Economic Research Consortium, and I became the executive director. We support public universities in Africa to mount quality degree programs in economics. We have trained economists for the Ministry of Finance for many years, for the last 11 years. We have supported students in this area for many years, but we also provide frontier research in various topical policy issues. Maybe I'll have a chance to talk about some of them. That's where I am, and let me also mention that in the central bank, I remember I worked on 2 very prominent areas. One of them is to reformulate the monetary policy framework for Kenya. I do believe that the framework that I found there, I actually described it as an obsolete framework. And the second thing is that I pushed and defended M-Pesa until the fights with the banks, until it was concluded, and everybody believed that it was a very, very innovative product. Today, the world knows Kenya because of M-Pesa and all other products that have come in that improved the retail electronic payment system and platforms in banks is one of the examples. I stop there, Mr. Chairman, because the history can be long, but let me say I am that young boy who started in location 3 in Gasharage in Kandara, and I'm now sitting here. Thank you very much.
Sir, we'll now open the forum. We'll start with the deputy speaker.
Professor Ndungu, I think I'll start by congratulating you for being nominated for the position